4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Crypto Channel. Welcome back to the Crypto Factor. Welcome back to your favorite cryptopreneurship channel where I always mess up the intros. Today I am with Austin Fatherby. We're going to be talking about NFTs, the crypto markets. We're going to be talking about Origyn Network from a CTO's perspective. Austin, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate you.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me on. Excited to talk about Origyn.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I heard a lot of good things. I heard you guys are expanding. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about the NFT markets, where you see them going, what's going on with crypto right now. But on your point of view, from your take, there is a famous CTO that makes YouTube videos out there named CTO Larson, I think. So maybe we can get your views as a CTO as well. But before I start, can you tell people a little bit about your background, who you are, where you're from, just so they can understand why they should listen to you?
Sure. So I'm the CTO of Origyn Foundation. I also help run an organization called IC Devs, which is a charity that helps promote developers for the internet computer and produce bounties and education and things like that for developing new code. I have been working in and around the Dfinity and internet computer community since almost 2017. In a previous life, I worked at a couple different consulting companies that were focused on trying to bring crypto to the enterprise. And it's been a very challenging thing because it just hasn't scaled to this point. It's been a real issue. There are certain things that enterprise needs that standard consumers don't, or more general Web3 doesn't need. But if enterprise wants to integrate, they have to get on board, and Web3 has to provide those tools as well. So that's sort of been our focus. We ended up at NFTs through a set of different projects, including a big diamond project. We were trying to track diamonds on the chain, and then spent a lot of times looking at ticketing, the ticketing space. It sort of all roads led to what ended up being NFTs. We kind of used to call them digital twins. And so I spent a lot of time talking to very large companies about how to bring Web3 to them. And that has sort of brought me to where I am today at Origyn Foundation.
Nice. Where do you mentioned the Web3? I want to talk about that. You said NFTs were called digital twins?
Yeah, so a long time ago, back in 2017, 2018, when I first sort of got recruited to do this professionally, the project that was going on was a tracer project that De Beers was sponsoring, and they were trying to put diamonds on the chain. And this was early 2018. I think CryptoKitty. In fact, I remember sitting in that office, we were working on that and buying a CryptoKitty, right? So it was right when those things first came out, but we were not calling them NFTs at that time. We were calling them digital twins, because Origyn, at the core of Origyn Foundation, is taking these physical objects and creating digital representations that are sort of inextricably tied together, so that you can't break them apart and still participate in the market.
That makes sense. I like that name, digital twins. I think they were called the Deeds back in the day before the NFT name ever came out. They were called Deeds, correct?
Yeah. Maybe so.
Not very marketable, but still.
Yeah.
Right. So in the Web3 industry, let's put it that way, or movement, or whatever you want to call it, what do you think will come at us first, if anything? Where do you think Web3 is going? What do you think is going to really introduce Web3 out there?
Well, the biggest problem that Web3's had so far is user take-up. We feel like there's been big growth, but while it's penetrated the broader market in sort of a mimetic and financial sense, it hasn't done it. Like, people aren't using it. People don't use it like they use Facebook, or use it like they use Instagram, or there's not that mass market appeal. That comes with scalability, and it comes with the ability for application developers to use Web3 underneath the hood and provide those important properties to consumers without them knowing that they're using it. Right.
Got you.
And that's the key, is no one wants to know well, some people do, I do. But 95% of the people don't ever want to know what a private key is,
Yeah.
right? And so there's this very fine line to walk between showing them it's important that they know what it is and making it relatable to them so that they have enough brain space to file it away in the way they approach the world. And so that's the next thing. Now that we're starting to have some scalability, can we abstract away some of the harder concepts and really bring it to a mass audience?
Yeah, because most people don't understand. Just because when you're in the space, especially, even if you're just an investor in the space, you get to understand and see a lot of things that most people don't see, and then you wonder why they don't understand it or why they don't adopt it because they just want simplicity. No one cares how PayPal works; they just want it to work. Would you say
Right.
that? Would you say that the difference between how can you explain Web3 to somebody to understand Web3 simply? Would you say a good way would be, okay, Web2 you rent your assets, Web3 you would own them? How would you make that difference, if you will? Explain how to explain
Yeah,
simply.
well, for me, and this may be a little bit of a different approach, but in Web 2, you're the product, right?
Ooh, I like
Your
that.
your mind, your attention is mined, your experience is mined by these big corporations that are trying to make money, and they're creating these avenues into your brain. In Web 3, it's about cutting out those middlemen and letting you own your own experiences, letting you self-direct uh, what you involve yourself in, what you choose to experience, where you go, what you own, those who can talk to you and who can't, right?
Right.
Being able to own those things, and if you're going to give up and productize yourself in Web 3, you can be compensated not just with access, but with actual financial uh, uh, money. People can
Right.
pay you for your attention. Right now, people are paying Facebook for your attention, and Web 3 eliminates those middlemen and lets you connect directly. Uh, uh, lets people connect directly without an intermediary.
Also, in talking about money, a lot of people are freaking out right now with the price of NFTs, where NFTs is going, the bear market. Where do you see that? Is this your first bear market? Obviously not. You're way before 2017. But what do you see happening? Where are we standing right here?
Well, I mean, I think you have these cycles, right? Some of it is just real non-value being driven out of the marketplace, right? And some of it's fear.
Yeah.
But I think that every time we do one of these, we end up in a place where things are more mainstream and they're more robust and they're safer and they're more engaging. And so I think this is just sort of a natural cycle. So uh, I don't have any sort of fear for the broader market and where we'll end up. I think some projects probably have some things to worry about if they weren't really delivering on their value, or if they were all hype. Um, the hype's gone, right? And so
Correct.
you're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait a few months for the hype to come back. So you better go back if you have some runway left. You better go back and reassess and make sure you're delivering real utility and real value to your customers. If you do, they'll stick around, and some of our most powerful companies came out of the dot-com bust, right? They were the people who made it through and were able to learn the most from those downtrends. And customers start telling you when money gets tight and the market gets tight, customers start telling you exactly what they want,
Mm,
because their financial attention becomes more focused on the things that are really important to them. So
nice.
it's a great time to learn right now and a great time to build.
So NFTs are not dead, unlike hip hop or good music.
Well, NFTs as we knew them in this cycle may be dead in the same way that
Oh, interesting.
ICOs are kind of dead, right? Like, I think that we saw the beginnings of it in this hype cycle where people really started connecting experiences, and it was more than just access to the artwork. It was access to the
Mm,
community. It was the building of a unique of a unique set of relationships that you own and that you participate in uniquely, without without an intermediary. And I think that will continue. Those are the things that are going to be solidified and continue to grow in this next cycle. And those will get focused on. And I think it'll be, I don't know if we'll still call them NFTs in 2 years or not, or if there'll be a new term or what. But the concept of rallying around a unique set of things they're limited in scarcity, so that the people who are engaged in that community have a financial interest to be there. That's a very powerful concept, and I think it'll continue, and I think it'll become, the way we begin to engage in the things that are important to us.
Nice. Now, you are part of Origyn Network, correct? You work as a CTO there. Can you tell us a little bit about Origyn and his relation
Sure.
with NFTs, obviously, and what it does?
Sure. Yeah. So Origyn Foundation is a Swiss foundation. We sort of have this stated mission, and we're obligated to fulfill our mission as a Swiss entity, to sort of protect human ingenuity and to provide tools that prove the authenticity and veracity of physical and digital goods. So there's a couple different ways to do that. You have technology ways to do that. So we have a work stream where we're working on a machine that you can put a watch into, and it takes a bunch of ultra high resolution photos and creates a digital record and runs that thing through AI, and it's basically a tool to help authenticate. And then we have sort of the old-fashioned way of creating a trust network of people who are financially bound to provide that certificate of authenticity, if you will. And so we started in sort of the watch area. Some of our founders came out of that area, so we have a strong focus there. And that's, you can think about the people in the back room that were trained by Rolex that can look at a watch and they can know if it's an authentic watch or if it's a fake. Being able to have those people have a platform where they can both market those services and provide assurances to the marketplace, and then be provided with technology that helps them do their job even better. That's the area of technology that we're building in. And so when we mint one of these, what we call minting, when we mint one of these watches, all that stuff goes on chain. All the pictures go on chain. That digital record goes on chain. Eventually, the service record goes on chain. Every time it changes hands, we have a chain of custody for those assets, and the NFT is sort of becomes a package of things that becomes more and more valuable over time as it moves from owner to owner to owner.
It's interesting.
And that's the main focus. Yeah.
It's actually interesting you mentioned watches, because back when I was working for Mintable.app, I actually did quite a few work for them, made their course, their university and everything. I remember that Hamilton, the watch, was interested in making an NFT from their watch and also wanted to put that into a movie. So I remember there was a lot of watches back then that were interested in the NFT industry. Is that something that you're also looking at, or are you just looking for authentication that the watch is actually real, or is there a whole bunch of other things that you might be innovating, coming up with watch companies?
Sure. Well, once you have the digital record, and the person has a digital thing that is valuable to them, and they have a place to keep that in their wallet or whatever that digital representation sort of turns into, you now have an avenue to reach that person at a point where they have interest. And so if you're a watch brand, you now have this avenue to be able to go and connect with people that own your watches in a certifiable, it's on the blockchain that these addresses own this watch. So let me go interact, or I can airdrop things, special experiences to those addresses. I can send messages through sort of a messaging system, opt-in messaging system, as opposed to a spammy message system. Like there's lots of things that you could begin to do, and then third-party developers can come in and begin to build, sort of tangential experiences that operate off of that certified record that these people have this thing. So if it's a watch, then you do watch-based things. If it's art, You can throw an event for people who have, own a piece of art for a certain artist or something like that. And, your NFT is your ticket, right? We know you're a certified part of this group. You have put significant financial capital on the line, and we have a digital record of your ownership of this. And so you can just walk in the door and, scan your public key, and we know to let you in the door for a physical event or digital event or whatever. So those are the kinds of things that we're looking at, and the sort of experiences that we're looking at building. We have a luxury vertical that does watches. We have an art vertical. We have a collectibles vertical, and then we have a digital media vertical. And we're sort of those are our first 4 verticals. We hope to have more, but those are the ones where we're sort of focused on right now, providing and building this authenticity network that lets people participate in the commerce in a much more trustless way. Like they can just transact. They don't have to worry about who they're doing business with, because the network takes care of weeding out the forgeries, weeding out the people who are scamming and trying to take advantage of you.
Got you. Do you guys have your own token that's released as well, or?
Yeah, so we have the OGY token. It's a utility token. It governs the Origyn network, and so you can stake your token. And when you stake your token for a certain amount of time, you get votes on the network, and you can vote. Right now, our governance is fairly minimal. We're basically, voting on a few motion proposals for the network, as well as some, basically a financial oracle where we certify the value of our token versus the XDR stable basket. And that's all we're doing right now. Version 2 of our governance is coming, which will allow that network to add new trusted nodes. And nodes are authenticators for us. They're business processes so new nodes will be able to be added that can mint these objects and provide authenticity services to it. You'll be able to govern some of the areas of our software and some of the registries in our software that allow short codes to point to certain things, or that allow applications to be added onto the network from third parties and things like that. So it'll be a very broad, eventually be a very broad decentralized network that has specific tasks to govern around the Origyn network.
Are you using your own oracle? Are you building your own oracle, or are you using one that's already out there?
Right now, it's sort of we go like this and put it up for vote. And obviously, as the market matures and as our token matures, there'll be a much more robust process for that, where we'll check different feeds and take an average across the market and things like that. So that's all coming.
So how would somebody stake their OG tokens? Is it a simple process? Is it like the other staking we do? We just go to, how would someone stake it? Does it have to be on platform, is it on wallet? How does it work?
The easiest way is something very similar to staking on the internet computer. If any of your users have done that, you basically have to acquire OG tokens, and then you take them to our governance.origyn.network platform. You deposit them in your address there, and then you're able to stake them for 1, 2, 3, or 4 years. And then based off of how long you stake them, it depends on how many rewards you get. And you also get to vote. So that's the current way. If you can operate the command line. There's some other ways for you to do it from the command line that don't require that web interface, but the web interface is certainly the easiest way to do it.
Right. Now let me ask you something, because as you know, projects need to build in a bear market. If you're building in a bear market, that's how they stand out. That's when you build. I probably didn't articulate that the best way I could, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. People get the point. My question is, what is Origyn's roadmap And then tell me your Origyn's roadmap from a CTO's perspective as well, because there may be a few differences there. What's your mainstream roadmap, and what do you see happening?
Sure. So we hope in early August, it's our current target to release our our take on an NFT standard for the internet computer. And it's a version 1 of that. We have a longer roadmap of features that we think should be in an NFT. This is the first set that includes multi-library NFTs, infinite storage, a data repository inside the NFT so that third-party applications can store data in your NFTs, and a few other features. And then longer term, there'll be a version 2 and a version 3 that add things like Ethereum integration and EVM integration that will allow every NFT to have its own EVM addresses and interact with other chains across other chains. There's a whole layer of compute that will allow, currently on most platforms, your NFT smart contracts can't see into what they are. They can't inspect the image and see what's in the image. And we have a layer where you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to, Coca-Cola would be able to look at an NFT and see if it has a Coca-Cola logo in it, and then award you Coca-Cola points, right? Or tokens, right? Something along those lines. Or something as simple as changing an image based off the season, right? Just changing the way the image is displayed based off of the season, or the month of the year, or something like that. So all of that's coming down the road. Early August, we'll be releasing that first standard along with a reference smart contract that people can use to spin up their own collections. And then with that, we're launching in our luxury vertical. We'll be launching the first iteration of our box and first iteration of our retailer platform that allows nodes and affiliates and people who are going to be minting these watches to get a box and press a button and mint these things up onto the chain. Our probably late this year, you'll see our initial art product come online, nice. in sort of a similar manner, where we will be able to mint art pieces for galleries and create a digital record for those art pieces. And then we have just an amazing sort of lineup of digital media assets where we've made some amazing connections with people who want to release collections and release these sort of narrative-based collections, where we have image, video, all wrapped up in a package and then mintable and collectible on the network. Those are our immediate goals.
Got you. What do you think one of the strongest points from your company is right now? What's your two strongest points, let's say, 2 or 3 strongest points, what are they?
We are really trying to exploit the full power of the internet computer and build a next generation NFT. And it's more than just a hash on a network. It's the actual images. It's the actual data. You can't turn the thing off. Just some properties that have been necessary to the NFT space. We're bringing those to market in a way that'll be very interoperable with other chains, and we think an amazing product for the NFT space that wants to sort of take things to the next level and do some more unique things. Number 2 is just sort of the depth of our network. We've spent the last really 18 months developing this network of node providers across those different verticals, and it's really the secret sauce of that we learned sort of doing this, that the Swiss Foundation and creating a neutral entity, how important that was. And we have that designation, we have that ability to go into a boardroom of a major organization and say, we're not here to be your competition, we're here to be an enabler. Like we're a nonprofit entity. We're here to enable you, and we're even able to sit at a table with 2 competitors and say, hey guys, if you do this, you're both gonna save this much money, and you can both still compete on what is what your own special sauce is, right? Like you can compete on your distinctive value as opposed to, you know, what software you're running. And that's sort of those are the two strongest things I think we have going for us at the moment.
What about your biggest challenge?
Uh, Finding enough developers.
Yeah, I heard you were hiring. By the way, if anybody wants to become a dev, everyone has a good background. If anyone has a good background, you can see the links above right here and down in the description below. Reach out to Austin.
Yeah, we're operating on new technology that's only been around for a while, and the number of sort of you hear this myth of the 10x developer. There are very few of those with the internet computers so far. There's a few of them, but they all have their own projects. And they're all busy doing their own thing. And so finding, really what we're looking for right now is we realize we just need to hire great developers and they'll learn this stuff. And so that's been our biggest challenge is finding those devs and then getting them, to a place where they're productive, both on the back end smart contract side as well as the front end user experience side.
I don't think there's ever been a better time to be a developer.
Yeah.
When it comes to financial gain, at least salaries and so on, I think being a developer now is probably the best time in history. Even before even at the dot-com bubble. Do you agree with that?
I think so. I mean, there's people want to do a lot of things, and there's not enough talent to go around. So you're definitely in a good position if you're a developer. If you're having trouble finding something, go network because the work will find you.
Yeah, I actually wish I was a coder. What are some of your favorite NFTs and Web3 ecosystems out there?
My engagement with sort of the broader sort of metaverse of NFTs is remarkably limited for what I do. I think I still have a CryptoKitty somewhere, and I'm pretty bitter that those took off. That CryptoPunks took off and not CryptoKitties. I mean, come on, I was right there at the beginning of it. Surely my cat's worth something, right?
You know what? I'll help you out. I'll send you a Bitbull. I have my own project. It's called bitbulls.io. I'll send you one. Tell me what you think.
Nice. Yeah. I'm excited about the ones that are developing community. I think there's something really interesting and novel. Everybody's talking about it, like the fact that Bored Ape Yacht Club sort of showed that you can use this as a jumping off point for broader experiences. I think that's interesting, and people aren't really seeing that. The important thing is the experiences behind it, not the actual picture of the monkey, right?
Right.
So on the internet computer side, we have our I've got a friend who does taco NFTs, which it's just this sort of inane, sort of silly community of people who decided they wanted to talk about tacos a lot, right? Like I came to LA and we went and got tacos.
Wait, taco NFT? Please explain.
Yeah.
Like it's an NFT of a taco.
It's an NFT of a taco, and we have a Discord, and we talk about tacos. And now he's building some more experiences. And it's pretty LA. It's pretty LA. It has a definite LA vibe. Jesse is here in LA, and he's sort of building it up. There's this whole piñata theme underneath it, and it's just fun. Like it's a fun thing to engage in, and if you haven't found your niche and haven't found your ability to go and do that yet, if you're just watching the floor price, like you're missing out on what this thing's all about. And I think that I think we'll see more and more of that. And then the tying of NFTs to DAOs is really interesting. We have a couple interesting projects on the internet computer. The Flower Power DAO guys are are doing some really interesting things around governance and NFTs that I'm watching rather closely. So yeah, it's a fun space, and we're hoping that we have a lot to say about it, and about how it makes a transition from this sort of purely digital, ethereal space to actually tangible items, and the way those can connect and make this an even more dynamic environment.
So you just raised the question now. If it's building community, like for example, a taco NFT that brings taco people together, do you see this excelling in the future in politics? Or movements like woke movement or Me Too movements and so on? Would this be an NFT, and can people utilize that to get us stronger? And do you think that's a good thing or bad thing at the end of the day?
Well, it's a fascinating concept, because there's so many things about Web3 that are different than sort of traditional capitalism and maybe traditional politics, the way we approach things. If you're Apple, you want to sell as many iPhones as you possibly can. Like there's no forced scarcity. They're going to pump those things out and sell as many as you will buy. The NFT space has this sort of forced scarcity. It's a forcing mechanism to make sure that the people who are engaged in that particular project have a certain financial commitment to it. Because if it's not worth 3 ETH for you to be involved in this project, you can go sell it for 5 ETH, and you'll sell it to someone who does want to be in that community at the 5 ETH level. And so I think it's I don't know about politics, because part of politics is getting as many people into the tent as possible. But for things where you need to build an institution where the people who are involved are committed and have proof of commitment, and maybe that's a new thing, proof of commitment, right? That may be interesting. So you might see political action groups where use this as a vehicle where they can, people who have resources can, simultaneously show off and pound their chest while also staying committed to the cause at a significant level. I think you'll probably see some things like that happen that
Got you.
bring the right people together who have the right resources, and can take action.
So let's talk a little bit more about Origyn Network, because I find it quite fascinating. But I know that a company is as strong as its team. Who's behind Origyn? Who's the CEO? How many team members? Who are they? What a little bit about their background, if you will. And we'll talk about you after. I'm not going to let you off the hook. We'll talk about you after.
No.
I'm going to challenge you there.
we have an amazing founding board. Mike Schwartz, who recruited me into this whole doing this crypto stuff. We met when he was at BCG Digital Ventures. He is sort of helped design scalable databases at Goldman Sachs a long time ago. And
is he related to the Davos Schwartz or no?
What?
Non-relation to
Davos?
the one. Yeah, no relation to the Schwartz from the Davos.
Mike is from Australia and now lives in LA. So I don't think so. But
Just making sure.
He's been around a while. He's helped a lot of companies build some amazing products, and really has had this and been dedicated to this vision since 2017 or even 2016. He's been focused on bringing this Web3 stuff to enterprise, and Vincent, one of our other founders, came out of the luxury space and has been deeply involved in a number of very cool watch products and watch brands. He brings all of that experience to that. Our CEO Daniel was, came out of an accounting, sort of on the accounting side, consulting firm, and has done a lot of innovation, and has, I think, was previously at a crypto investment fund. So he sort of brings that angle to it as we are launching our token and trying to get it out there. it's really an amazing team. And Jean's one of our other board members who is been involved in this space for a very long time. So we have an amazing founding team and an amazing CEO, sort of moving us forward. And then we have our 4 verticals, and each of those verticals has a managing director. Stephanie, our luxury MD, has been in the luxury industry, working with brands for years and years, has deep industry knowledge. Lemire of our digital media is deeply ingrained. He's here in LA. He's deeply ingrained in I call it the LA scene, whether that's on the sports side or on the entertainment side or on the artistic side. Just an amazing set of connections that have led to some amazing collections that we have coming down the road. Tom, our head of collectibles, like I want to just like have him like let me flip through his phone, because he seems to know absolutely everyone in the entertainment business and in the music business. Nice. And he'll say, "Oh, I know, I went to see this band." It's like, "Oh yeah, I know their road manager, and I've met all those guys and hung out with." It's like just an amazing group. And then our art group is led by Edward, who was actually at Definity for a long time, helping them sort of put together their initial some of their initial funding rounds and things like that, and has moved sort of into this art space to help us capture that. So we have a really strong team. I mean, I can go down the list. We have a lot of folks now, and it's a really powerful team making a lot of things happen.
Nice. How about you? How did you get involved in Origyn? Why Origyn? Because obviously, with your background, we talked about it a little bit before. You could have gone anywhere. What led you to go to Origyn Network?
Probably my relationship with Mike, long-term relationship with Mike, helped me out there. He hired me to help out at BCG Digital Ventures. Then we went and spun that thing out and did something different for a number of years. We just have a shared vision of sort of how we approach the world. And so when he went and said, "Look, we've done all the work to get the foundation set up. We've raised this money. We're ready to go, and we need you to come do this." It just all sort of lined up, and I was like, yes. One of the most important things I've learned, I've tried to do some cool products and tried to launch some things that a lot of them were like 5 years too early, and I'm not a marketer, so I didn't market them well. They could have been billion-dollar ideas, but it was just me in my office. And so one of the most amazing things I've learned through doing this is the importance of having an amazing team around you. And Origyn had that team. They had the resources and the team ready to go, which is what you need here. Yeah. I've talked to some folks recently who are like, "Oh, I'm just going to bootstrap this." I'm like, "Okay, you can do that, but right now you love building NFTs and NFT software. You need to understand, if you bootstrap this yourself, you're going to be doing paperwork and talking to lawyers, right? You're going to have to hire people to do the things that you think that you love." And so this was a great place for me to come and focus on the technology and let the marketers do their job, and let the accountants do their job, let the finance people do their job, and I could focus on the tech that I love working on, and hopefully release some things that move this whole conversation forward on sort of a global level.
Yeah, there's an African proverb that says, "If you want to get somewhere fast, go alone. If you want to get far, go with others."
Right.
So I think that sums it up. What were you like before, man? What were you like before you got into crypto and NFTs? If I met you in high school, no, seriously, if I met you, we were sitting at the high school cafeteria, we're chilling, we're having our lunch, there's some girls down to the left, I don't know, we're hanging out, we're talking, what would I think about you?
Oh gosh, that was a long time ago. I mean, I was a pretty big nerd back then. Still a pretty big nerd, but it started early. I took a programming class my junior year of high school, and then my summer job was programming at 17,
Nice.
which was in retrospect kind of weird. By the time I got to college, I was building. I had a roommate who was going through the same program that I was going through, and I'd basically do his homework, right? Or he'd come to me and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, this is how you do it." Yeah, and
Cool.
what I learned in college was how to talk to people, because I wasn't great at talking to people, but how to talk to people, how to relate to people, how to get involved in things, and less about the actual technology that I learned, because I knew most of what they taught in the Management Information Systems School at UT Austin. I knew it when I got there, and so really I was just a big nerd. That liked grunge music. I mean, it was the late '90s, and even back then, I was playing with some ideas around the virtualization and sort of creation of worlds, alternative worlds and alternative not financial systems at that point, but just sort of ways of approaching human interaction and moving those into a digital space, and finding ways to appeal to those things that people like to do and things they like to experience in the digital world. And so some of this stuff that's coming up around metaverse and stuff like that is really, it really catches my attention, because I was kind of trying to do that with text on a computer screen back in 1995. So it's changed a lot. But
Were you a D&D player, or?
I did a little bit of that. I never had I never had enough friends that were into it enough to get any sort of consistency going. Like I'd buy the books and I'd read the books, get into the Ultima Online, and showing my age here, but I tried to build some games at one point, and it was lots of fun to do those things, and they sort of helped me hone my programming skills and kind of get me to where I am now, I guess.
Got you. Any advice you can give people that want to go down this road, they want to get into tech, they want to become CTOs, they want to do their own thing? What would you advise them, if anyone who's watching right now?
Read a lot, and not just technology stuff. You need a view and an opinion on the world, whatever that opinion is. It's not just all tech. You have to, if you're looking for a secret sauce, there's two that I can tell you. Be a designer who can code. Those people are desperately needed. The other one is, if you're going to be a technology person, if you know you just want to code in a closet, that's great. We need those people. I hire those people all the time. But if you kind of want to go to the next level, you need to learn how to walk in and talk to a CEO and understand his business at his level, and understand what's important to you. Your technology that you are going to build, whatever your pet technology is of the day. For me, it's building on the internet computer, and some of the Motoko stuff we're doing, and I'm really into it, and it's really cool. But you have to keep in mind that it's an accident of implementation. You can do that with any other technology with enough manpower and money. You can get it accomplished in almost any language. They're called Turing-complete languages for a reason, right? Any Turing-complete language, you can build any system. So don't fool yourself into thinking that because you know X technology, that you're going to rock into the CEO's office and tell him he needs to rebuild his system in your pet technology. He's interested in his business, and you have to understand your business. And until you can connect why your pet technology gets him to his business goal faster, you're not going to make a whole lot of progress. So I think that's probably my biggest piece of advice to someone who's saying, okay, I've been developing for a while, and now I kind of want to move up into more of the business realm. You have to learn how to do it. It takes experience, and it takes a lot of listening.
Awesome. That was excellent advice. Is there anything you would like to add? Where can people find you? I have the links up here at the top, of course. People can see that. But where can people find you? Where can people find Origyn Network?
Sure. So I'm at AFAT on Twitter, I think. At ICDevs_org is ICDevs. If you want to, if you're really into the internet, computer, and programming, and want to help us build some stuff, you can go there and find bounties to build stuff. Origyn network is, I think, at Origyn Tech is our Twitter.
One there.
Perfect. Then I'm out on some of the more social de-social platforms, on Internet Computer as well, on District and on Discover. There's I don't really use LinkedIn anymore, but I'm on there. And that Twitter is probably best at the moment. And I'm kind of on Discord here and there as well. So
Got you.
Feel free to reach out if you think you can contribute to the space, or if you're a master Motoko developer, you already have a job. You just need to call me. If you have experience with Internet Computer, call me. If you're just a really good Web3 dev, ping me. We're hiring and growing. So thanks for the opportunity to come on here and talk a little bit about Origyn and myself. And hopefully we're targeting early August to really push out a white paper around how we're approaching NFTs in a different way, and to produce and ship some actual code so people can start building in the way that we think these things should work going forward.
Got you. Awesome. Now I got one more question for you. I do this to everybody. You probably don't know about this.
Sure.
As a CTO or somebody working in this business or somebody working with Origyn, what's the one question you wish people asked you but they never do? It's my signature question. I have to ask you.
Inside my business or outside my business?
Anywhere you want. Anywhere you want.
Inside the business, it's challenging. There's this push and pull between marketing and tech, and it's always sort of a battle. So the question of when can I realistically have this ready is not asked enough, and it's really, really hard for the marketing folks to not sell something. And so it's almost a self-editing feature where I have to be careful what I say we're going to do, because as soon as I say we're going to do it, in my head I'm thinking, oh, we'll be able to do that in 5 years, and then somebody will come back to me the next week like, hey, we sold that. They're ready to go.
I mean, pretty much.
Can we ship? And so when can I realistically expect that to be ready? Would be a great question. And we're pushing it inside of Origyn to make sure that we set proper expectations to the community, and that we ship regularly and on time, something productive on a regular basis. It's probably my biggest challenge right now with a group that's growing the way we are, is controlling that and making sure that we do it in the proper way.
Austin, thank you so much. That was great answers. You enlightened us a lot. I'm going to look into the project. I'll leave the links down below so people can check it out, up here as well. Yeah, it was great, man. I learned a lot. I hope to have you back soon.